When you hear the name Mary Magdalene, a single, powerful image likely comes to mind, one that has been shaped by centuries of art and tradition. She is the ultimate repentant sinner, the fallen woman who famously washed the feet of Jesus with nothing but her own tears and her flowing hair. Because of this incredibly potent story, her very name has become a powerful, worldwide symbol of redemption from a life defined by sexual sin. But what if this story, the most famous and defining thing that we think we know about her, is a complete and total lie? The truth is, the Bible never once says she was a prostitute. There is not a single verse in all of Scripture that makes this claim. So, if the Bible isn't the source, where did this story come from? And who was the real Mary Magdalene hiding behind the myth? Her popular reputation today is actually a classic, centuries-old case of mistaken identity. First, there was an unnamed sinful woman mentioned in Luke's Gospel. Second, there was a completely different woman named Mary of Bethany, who was the sister of Lazarus, and who also anointed Jesus in a separate event. And third, there was the woman we're investigating, Mary, from the prosperous fishing town of Magdala. Three entirely separate individuals. The moment that would change history forever came in the year 591, during a very influential sermon delivered by Pope Gregory the Great. In this sermon, he publicly and authoritatively fused these three separate biblical women into a single, composite character, the repentant sinner. This new image was so compelling that it became historical fact in the popular imagination, but it was a tradition of man, not of the Bible. To find the real Mary, we have to ignore centuries of art and tradition and look only at the biblical text. Her story begins in Magdala. The Bible tells us that Jesus cast 7 demons out of her, a profoundly symbolic number in Jewish culture signifying a complete and total affliction. This most likely indicated a severe physical or psychological illness, but critically, it was never, ever described as being related to sexual sin. Far from being a destitute outcast, the Bible paints a very different picture of her status. She appears to be respected and financially independent. In fact, she was a woman of substance, a key financial patron whose own resources were essential for supporting Jesus' entire ministry. This means she didn't just follow along with the crowds. She actively funded the movement, making her an essential part of its success. But her greatest and most profound contribution wasn't her money. It was her unshakable, unwavering loyalty when all hope seemed lost. When the male disciples who had promised to stand by him fled in fear after his arrest, completely abandoning their master in his darkest hour. Mary, along with the other devoted women, stood firm. She did not run. She bore witness to his suffering from beginning to end. She remained steadfast through the horror of the crucifixion, and she was there to see where his body was laid to rest at his burial. And it was precisely because of this incredible faithfulness that she was the very first person to return to his tomb at dawn on the third day. Arriving in the pre-dawn gloom, she found the great stone rolled away and immediately believed that his body had been stolen by his enemies. Overcome with devastating grief and weeping outside the empty tomb, she mistakes the resurrected Jesus for the man who tends the garden, Mary. But then he speaks a single word, a word that changes the course of human history. He simply says her name. In that one moment, in the simple sound of her own name spoken by her teacher, her entire world is reborn in an instant of pure joy. The resurrected Jesus then commissions her personally to be the very first evangelist, the first person to declare the news of the resurrection. She was the faithful patron, the courageous witness, the first evangelist. For this, she earned a new title, the Apostle to the Apostles. This is the woman the Bible actually shows us. It is long past time we remember her for who she truly was.